It's shocking as a journalist or an observer or as a citizen who's paying attention to see our country and our nation's capital look more like a third world autocracy, one that wants to squash speech and assembly. I think anyone that's paying attention can see that our First Amendment rights are not being respected as they need to be. I've seen a number of different rubber bullets or other projectiles sticking out of people's arms or legs, things that broke the skin. I saw a BBC cameraman take a shield to the face in the camera yesterday in Washington, D.C., right outside the White House. I've seen a reporter who was blinded permanently in one of her eyes that was hit by a projectile. There are no shortage of instances of police abuse.
Was it clear in the instances that you outline in your reporting that the people targeted were journalists? Did they have badges? Did they have helmets? Did they have cameras? How were they identified?
I, as a journalist, don't have any sort of hard credential. Even though I work for a news organization, I certainly don't have a vest or a helmet. That being said, a number of reporters did. They either were credentialed by local police departments like the New York PD, or they were wearing vests, or they had identified themselves to cops. The cops either targeted them after or despite the fact that they said that they were journalists.
What is happening is a threat to democracy? What's your assessment of this very strong response being had towards press?
I think that what we're seeing in cities across the country, and particularly in my hometown of Washington, D.C., is an abuse of our constitutional rights to gather, to protest, to speak, and to report the news. Freedom of the press is specifically one of the 5 freedoms of the First Amendment. There's also been a certain number of civilian abuses of the press as well. People who have found out that a certain person is a journalist and beat them up, or because they're a journalist, in certain circumstances shouted things like "you're fake news" or something else reminiscent of some of the president's personal attacks on the press. And all of that is equally worrying. That being said, the majority of abuses that I've documented have to do with the police.